Hey, welcome back to Livin MN Outdoors. I'm Daniel, and thanks for tuning in to this week's fishing report. Like usual, guys, if you use any of the resorts or guides mentioned in today's fishing report, please let them know you saw them on Livin MN Outdoors. And with that being said, let's dive right into this week's fishing report. All right, we're going to start up on Mille Lacs Lake out of Castles Resort on Isle Bay. I talked to Jeff today. They have a solid 10 to 12 inches of ice. They're currently allowing out ATVs, side-by-sides, and snowmobiles. Now, just this week, they started allowing out single axle wheelhouses, 16 feet or shorter, towed out by side-by-sides or ATVs, but they're only allowing out 20 of those at a time. So if you want to get your wheelhouse out of Castles Resort, you need to give them a call and get on the reservation list. Now, before I forget, guys, Castles Resort, they will be closing on December 24th at 10 a.m. They ask anybody who has used their access to be off of the lake before 10 a.m. on the 24th because they will be closing down their access and blocking it off. Now, they will be opening right away again on December 26th after Christmas, and they will be right back to business. They'll be letting out wheelhouses again with side-by-sides and ATVs. But the fishing out of Castles Resort, the walleye fishing, it's been really good as of lately. Some of the locals up there are saying it's some of the best early ice fishing they've seen in the past 20 to 25 years. As far as where they're finding those walleyes, the best depth right now is 16 to 20 feet of water. Now, the best ways to catch those walleyes, always the dead stick or tip-ups, tipped with a rainbow or a small sucker minnow. And then if you're going to jig for them, this sounds really weird, guys, but a bigger tungsten jig, load that up with 5 or 6 larvae, those little Euro larvae, and they're picking up some really nice walleyes that way as well. Now, of course, you can still get them on your normal buckshot spoons, jigging spoons, whatever it might be. Tip that with a fat head or the head of a minnow, and you're going to catch some walleyes as well. Now, as far as the perch bite goes, they're catching perch just about everywhere out there. There's a gazillion little tiny perch, but there is some really nice perch mixed in, so you got to weed through them. A good way to eliminate some of them smaller perch is to put down a dead stick with a bigger sized fathead or rainbow, and you'll be able to pick out some of those really nice perch. Now, of course, as far as jigging goes, you can put on a small spoon or a tungsten, larva, waxworms, or a minnow head, and you're going to catch perch that way as well. Now, as far as the pike bite goes, they have been catching some absolute hogs out on Isle Bay, up to 41 inches, maybe even a little bit bigger. They're catching those in 8 to 12 feet of water, big sucker minnows on set lines and tip-ups. So if you're looking to get after some big pike, Isle Bay is the place to be right now. Now, Castles Resort, they do have cabins available. They have wheelhouses available to rent up on shore. And then they do have one ice castle available out on the lake if you want to stay overnight out on the lake. So you got to go ahead, give Jeff or Kimberly a call and get a cabin wheelhouse booked as soon as possible. Now, if you're looking for a guide trip out of Castles Resort, go ahead, give them a call. They can put you in touch with some guides out there. The guides have been having a ton of success, so if you need a little bit of extra help, go ahead and call Castles, get a guide booked, and have yourself a blast. So if you're looking to get up to Mille Lacs Lake out of the Isle Bay area, go ahead and call Jeff or Kimberly from Castles Resort. All right, now moving over to Lake Winnie, I talked to Chad from the Pines Resort today. He told me they have a solid 10 to 12 inches of ice out of there. They're allowing out ATVs, side-by-sides, and snowmobiles. And stay tuned to our Facebook page and theirs, because very soon they might start allowing out dollying of single axle wheelhouses. But as for this weekend, no wheelhouses yet. They do have good ice. There is a couple of cracks out in the bay. Those are crossable. I always recommend checking the ice on both sides before crossing with an ATV or anything of that sort. But check in with the resorts as well. As far as the fishing goes out there, the perch and walleye fishing has been really good this early ice, and it doesn't seem to be slowing down at all. Now, as far as where to find the walleyes, they're catching them in 5 to 15 feet of water. During the middle of the day, they tend to catch them out in that deeper end of that spectrum, that 12 to 15 feet. But early in the morning and late in the evening, they tend to catch them in shallow. Now, over the last week, 5 to 7 feet of water has been really good for walleyes. They're getting them on jigging spoons with minnow heads or on rainbows and small sucker minnows on set lines and tip-ups. Now, as far as the structure they're catching those walleyes on, weed lines and breaks in that 5 to 15 feet of water. Now, as far as the perch fishing goes out of the Pines Resort, they're still catching those in shallow 6 to 12 feet of water, up in the weeds, in the weed to sand transitions. That's where they're catching a lot of those bigger perch. Now, to catch the perch, they're getting them on spoons, they're getting them on tungstens, waxworms, larvae, minnow heads. They're getting them on set lines as well with both fatheads and rainbows. So you really can't go wrong when it comes to catching perch up there right now. Now, as far as the pike go, the pike are everywhere. Doesn't matter how you fish, you're going to run into them. But if you want to get some of them bigger pike, I highly recommend using some bigger sucker minnows or smelt, and you're probably going to catch some decent pike out on Tamarack Bay. Now, as far as the panfish bite goes, it's very sporadic right now. Some guys will pick up a few bluegill and crappies here and there, but nothing really consistent. If you are going to target them, I'd suggest fishing the weeds in 6 to 10 feet of water with a small tungsten and some larvae or a waxworm, and maybe you'll come across a school of them and pick off some really nice panfish. Now, if you guys are looking to rent a spear house or a day house, the Pines Resort, they have those available. If you want to stay up on shore, they have some cabins available, and they do have availability for camping in your wheelhouse as well. Now, the Pines Resort does have live bait. They have a heated fish cleaning shack, full bar and restaurant, whatever you could ask for, they can help accommodate you. So if you're looking to get up to Lake Winnie this coming weekend or in the future, go ahead and call Chad from the Pines Resort. Also want to mention, guys, the Pines Resort, they will be shutting down on December 24th at noon. They will be opening back up on the morning of the 26th. Chad told me he will be putting a pay box outside, so if you guys still want to fish on the 24th and 25th, just drop your access money in the box and you're good to go. Now, if you guys are looking to book an ice castle a little bit later in the season, Scott from zupsguideservice, he will be bringing out his ice castles as soon as the ice is safe. So stay tuned to his Facebook page or ours. We'll be posting as soon as he can get those out there. He does not have a ton of availability left, so if you want to get in on that action, go ahead and call Scott from zupsguideservice. All right, now moving over to Leech Lake. I talked to the guys from Horseshoe Bay Lodge today. They have about 9 inches of good consistent ice right now, but they are going to continue to have their access shut until December 28th. There's still some open water out on the main lake, and they are worried about the ice shifting and cracking. They don't want to put anybody at risk, so they're going to continue to have that closed, like I said, until December 28th. Now, when they reopen on the 28th, they are going to be allowing ATVs, side-by-sides, and snowmobiles. They will be putting out another report, I believe, on the 27th, so we can update you before then, and hopefully they might even be able to allow out some smaller wheelhouses. Now, when their access was open, they had some people out fishing. The walleye bite was pretty good in 15 to 19 feet of water. During the day, jigging spoons, gold, green, pink. And then in the evening, put down glow red or orange, tip that with a fathead, rainbow, or a small sucker, and they were picking up some nice walleyes. Now, a few burbot being caught. Those burbot kind of like those steeper break lines in that same depth, at 15 to 19 feet of water. Pound bottom with something big that glows, and you're more than likely going to pick up one of those Leech Lake grease balls. Now, a bunch of guys were out fishing the deeper mud. They were catching some really nice tulibies. So if you're into chasing tulibies, be ready for their access to open back up. Find that deeper water, get on those break lines of that mud, and fish small tungstens with larvae or plastics, and you're going to have a blast catching those tulibies out there. Now, they did have some guys catching some perch too. They were up on those shallower reefs, getting them on small spoons and tungstens as well. Now, like I said, guys, we will have one more fishing report come out before their access opens. So if you're planning to get up to Leech Lake, stay tuned to the channel and we will update you next week before their access is back open. Now, Horseshoe Bay Lodge, they told me today that they still have hotel rooms and cabins available. If you want to get one of those for New Year's weekend, they do have some available. Horseshoe Bay Lodge, they throw a great New Year's party. They have tons of stuff for the kids, like the pool, hot tub, that sort of stuff. And then they throw one heck of a party down in the bar and restaurant. So if you guys are looking to get up to Leech Lake for New Year's or in the future this winter, go ahead and call Cam or Courtney from Horseshoe Bay Lodge. Now, if you guys are looking for a guide trip out on Leech Lake or the surrounding areas, Leech Lake Guide Team LLC, they'll be running guide trips this winter. Whether you want to chase walleyes, panfish, perch, eel pout, whatever it might be, they can help accommodate you. Check them out on Facebook or look up their website, get in contact with them, and get a trip on the books. Now, if you're looking to book a wheelhouse or a sleeper house out on Leech Lake this winter, Tanner from Only Outdoors, he has a phenomenal fleet of ice castles that he'll be renting out. He told me today that he does have some availability the weekend of January 6th, and he does have some midweek availability as well. Now, he is going to be running some midweek specials on his wheelhouses, so if you have the ability to go fish during the week, check into those specials. Get yourself a trip booked up on Leech Lake. Alright guys, well that's going to do it for this week's fishing report. Really appreciate all of you who have been following along with the fishing reports. If you guys could, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, stay tuned. We will be updating you as often as possible. We always do our fishing reports on Thursday morning, and then stay tuned to our Facebook page as well. Now remember guys, if you go out fishing, you pack it in, you pack it out, don't leave any trash behind. It makes all of us fishermen look terrible. If you find somebody else's trash, pick that up too. We need to do our best to keep our lakes clean. Otherwise, we're going to end up with a bunch of fines and hopefully not have fishing shut down. So remember guys, when you're out fishing, don't crowd other fishermen, be respectful, and most importantly, don't forget to get on out there and get living.